Welcome to this presentation for cleaning your healing home. It is the first and most important part of healing yourself, I do believe. So I wanted to make sure that this was the first thing that we go over. This is all about developing habits and changing the way that you do things and looking at things differently, because I know that with cleaning your healing home, it can, it's an investment and it does cost more, unfortunately. But I think investing in our health and our well-being and making sure that we use products, that we clean up the things that we are putting into our bodies, and making sure that we have a clean environment is the first thing that we have to do in order to heal ourselves. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do is we have to pay attention and be aware of what is happening within our bodies, and also look and see what things may be happening around us. And for us who are super sensitive, there have been processes that have taken place to cause us to be that way. And we really have to be aware, to make sure that we are either avoiding or getting away from, or taking action to make sure that our environment is no longer a threat to us. So the first thing that we have to do is to admit and to accept that we are toxic, that we have a situation where our bodies are not responding, we are not detoxing as we should. And even though we might think that we're healthy and we've done all of these things to be healthy, because our detoxification systems are so blocked up, that we are toxic, and this is what is causing us not to be well. You have to admit that, you have to accept it before you can do other things to clear that away out of your system. So after you can admit and accept that you are toxic, then you have to pay attention. It is so challenging, and sometimes we don't get it right. And sometimes things are so subtle that it's just really, and there's so much going on in our lives, it's really hard to figure it out. But the more you can figure out what is causing you to react, and you can remediate that, get it out of, don't touch it anymore, or figure out ways to keep your body from reacting, the better chance you are going to have to get your body to a place where it can heal more. So you have to be aware and pay attention. The next thing that I would say to make sure that is clean for you is the air. What you are breathing in is so important to be able to get rid of some of the toxicity that is in your body. Especially if you are living in moldy environments and mold is causing you to be sick. You have got to find a way to either get out of that situation or to remediate. And I know this causes stress. It is a big deal, but you in order to invest in your health, and it may take some creativity. Maybe you just need to get outside more, but you are going to have to find a way to breathe in good, clean air to get those toxins out of your system some. The more that you're breathing it in, you are not going to be able to heal. So sometimes we have to be creative. I will work with you to try to figure out what you can do in order to get to a better place. But you have to be, and if you have and I will give you a list or some ideas of remediation places that you can go, businesses that you can go to, but you have to be careful with that because some people still don't have a clue what they're doing. And I will not say that I'm an expert on that because I'm not, but I will help you find some way to get your environment around you clean as much as you can. Um, Purifying the air. There are lots of air purifiers. I know my doctor gave me a list of one. Yes, they are expensive. The ones that are going to do the best job, unfortunately, are probably going to be more expensive. But I will give you a list of ideas, things that I've used or things that other people have used that I know are helpful. But HVACs are a very big part of this because bad things get in those systems and it will just spew it out all into your air. So you have to pay attention to the air quality that you are living in. So important. You also need to look at your humidity level in the house. Know that bad organisms, molds, those kinds of things like humid air. If you've got water leaks, you've got to get that taken care of because that is where mold thrives. And when I first got my house, I knew that I had a humidity problem, and I did get me a hygrometer which measured the humidity level in the house. And usually when it was raining was when it was really bad, so I usually got out the dehumidifier then, but I should have ran it all of the time. But doing things to make sure that your humidity levels are down, especially like in bathrooms where the steam may build up, you need to have a way of getting that moisture out because the more moisture you have, the more likelihood of bad things growing. And as much as possible, just get outside in the fresh air and just breathe it in. Being out in nature is always a great way to help. So these are good ways to help clean your air. Cleaning your water. There are many things that can be in our water that we are not even aware of, whether it's well water, city water, those things that are supposedly helping to keep the water clean, the chlorines and what's supposed to be good for helping kids with their teeth, the fluorides, and all of these high levels of iron, all of these sediments and all of those things that are too high to be in the water. You may want to look for getting your water tested. But if you don't already have some kind of system in place to purify them, you need to look at thinking about the water that you are drinking. Yes, water is very beneficial and we have to have it, but we do not need chemicals and bad things in there that are going to add to your toxic level. I will also give you some links in a file for ways of or items that you can use to purify your water. This is a big one. This is the longest one I have, but it is so important. And this is what most of us are having bad reactions to, are adding to inflammation in our bodies, and are adding to our toxic load. So these are just some of the things that I have come up with that over the years that have really helped to lessen my toxic load, and I still have to work on it all of the time. But I'm sure some of these you already know, we already know this, but just to clarify, avoiding processed packaged food as much as possible. I know that it is hard, it is challenging to cook your own foods. I will be doing videos on things that you can do for that, but it is so beneficial for your health to use whole foods and cooking your own foods. And with us with sensitivities, your list of foods gets less and less anyway. So you've got to be able to pay attention to what you're eating and staying away. And there's ingredients in all of these packaged foods that I'm sure that we are reacting to. Again, with organic foods, the chemical level that are on those foods are going to be less than they would be for conventional foods. The pesticides, the herbicides, all of those things that they put on there, there are more regulations in place that are going to keep those chemicals more away from organic foods. I know it's more expensive, it's not as readily available, but this is an investment in your health and well-being. Sugar is bad for mold. I know that one of the first signs that I had of mold toxicity was my blood sugar. Just totally, I got very hypoglycemic, and I realized that sugar made me feel better, and I lived a long time eating a lot of sugar because of my hypoglycemia, and I felt better when I was eating it. But I did realize too that the mold was just as happy as it could be because it loves sugar. So, if you eat higher protein foods, that will do the same thing for you, and eating more frequently, that will help you the same way that eating a lot of sugar does. Sugar is very inflammatory. Sugar substitutes are adding more chemicals to your body, so avoiding those. Sugar alcohols, I have found that my system is very, very reactive to sugar alcohols, and it causes a lot of abdominal issues, IBS symptoms, and we'll talk more about that later. I would totally recommend avoiding sugar, high sugar foods, like anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. Sugar alcohols or sugar substitutes. Some say avoid fruits. My doctor always told me to just do the berries, but there are different ideas on that. Right now, I just pretty much am limiting myself to berries, blueberries, raspberries, which can be high in histamine. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, and blackberries. So just pay attention to your sugar intake. Also, I would suggest avoidance, but I know you have to do just what you can do and just do it a little at a time. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by anything. But gluten and dairy products, peanuts, soy, these kinds of foods are very inflammatory, and they are not going to be good for you if you are trying to get rid of mold or any kind of inflammatory response. So that would be one thing to work on as well. Also, if you're buying packaged or processed foods, please read your food labels. I try to make sure that I'm not purchasing anything that's gotten over 3 to 5 ingredients in it, and I can read them. And if I cannot read them and do not know what they are, then I'm going to look up the ingredient to see what it is. We have to take our health into our own hands and pay attention to what we are eating. The last thing, when you do eat a food, and I would suggest, at least at first, sort of keeping small amounts and writing down, keeping a journal, identifying what you're eating so that you can see if you're having a reaction to foods. It took me a long time to figure out what was going on with this, and it caused me a lot of misery. And we'll talk more about these reactions later. But awareness, paying attention to your body and what is happening is so key in this, and I want to help you to do that. The last thing we'll talk about for cleaning your healing home is to use clean products when you are preparing or storing your food or drink. Glass or stainless steel are always going to be your best bets because they're not going to penetrate more chemicals into your foods or into your drink or whatever you are doing. Plastics, They are going to seep in the chemicals that are in the plastics that are not good for you. Heating plastics is not a good idea, because that's just getting more chemicals into your food and drink as well. And we are trying to detoxify our bodies. This is what the problem is. We are toxic. So we have to find any way that we can to lessen that toxic load on our bodies. So when you're cooking, I would cook with cast iron or either a good stainless steel. Stay away from that the non-stick stuff with the Teflons or the coating on the bottoms, because that is just adding more toxins to your food, your cooking utensils, all of those things. Plates, yeah, you want to stay away from those things that can seep into your foods. I feel like silicone is okay. I cook with some silicone, bake with some silicone, used to, don't really anymore because I don't do baking products anymore. I freeze that with those silicone bags, and I find that those are okay. I do not freeze things in plastic. On your body, please pay attention to the products, cleaning, body washes, makeups, all of those deodorants, all of those things that you are putting onto your body, because what you put onto your body seeps in to your body and it goes right into your bloodstream. It is not even detoxified or anything by the liver, and our bodies are already so clogged up with things. And a lot of things that we're putting into our bodies, the fragrances that we then smell, and then the chemicals from that, are just wreaking havoc. So I would beg of you to please pay attention to the items that you are putting onto your bodies. Look at your labels, research the ingredients. I will say that the Environmental Working Group is a good organization online to give information on good cleaning products to use. Or good products to use for your body, sorry, but cleaning products too, when you are cleaning surfaces or whatever, to look at labels, read the ingredients. You are you're smelling them, you're putting they're touching you. If you are using detergents, you may even be reacting to them and you don't even know it. This is a very big thing when you are toxic. It will start to affect parts of your body that will cause you to react to things that you would not even think that you're reacting to. So please, please, please pay attention to those things. They make a big difference in your healing. So again, cleaning your healing home, your body, is the first and most important part of your healing. You've got to pay attention and be aware of what is going on with your body, knowing that you are toxic. This is the big part. Your detoxification pathways are totally blocked up, and it is causing all kinds of reactions in your body and is making you sick. So this is the first way to lessen that and get yourself on the right track. Secondly, to clean your air, clean your water. Third, clean your water. Fourth, clean your food. And number 5, use clean products. If you have any questions, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you need to know more specific information, please let me know. I am here to help you and want to do what I can to get you well. Thank you.